Okay, so today is July 15th, and we just got home from the 2019 Indianapolis Summit. The reason that we called in the troops to come together to do this call is because this summit was one of the most legendary summits that I think the best I've ever experienced. I've been a coach now for 7+ years, and I've attended a lot of summits, and this just hit on all cylinders. We saw Rachel Hollis speak. We saw the author of Atomic Habits speak. We saw the top coaches come up on the stage and share their journey all the way from when they were in their infancy of coaching and sitting in the nosebleed section of the stadiums, watching these top coaches and thinking for the first time, why not me? And it was such a powerful event. People were coming together, teams were united, the entire network was united. And our theme this year was You Belong Here. So tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about that specific theme and kind of what it meant to me. And then you're going to hear from a little over a handful of other leaders who are going to talk about all the announcements in case you missed any of them. We have new products that launched, one that launched today, so you'll hear about that. New fitness programs that are coming out, what Summit has done for people's businesses, so hearing a little bit more about the power of Summit. But let me just start us off by talking about this You Belong Here theme. It almost brought me to tears multiple times throughout the weekend because even though I've been a coach for 7+ years, guys, there have been many points in my journey where I wasn't sure where I belonged. I wasn't sure if I was a good enough leader for this team, if I was the right person to lead people through their fitness journey, if I was stepping into my purpose. And I just questioned, okay, where is it that I belong? And then as I sat there in the stands at Summit, I realized that I was in the exact place that I belong, that each and every one of us, even if you couldn't be there that day or these past few days, you belong there too. You belong as a part of this community. Even if you feel like you have failed multiple times in this business, even if you feel like you've been wanting to get your business off the ground but you don't know where to start, or if you've been pushing and plugging away and you built something successful and then you took a step back and it tapered off and you don't know where to go from here. I want to remind you guys that here in the Difference Maker movement, there is a seat at the table for you. And I made that from the bottom of my heart, that you belong here on this team. You belong exactly where you are today. All of your struggles, all of the pain that you felt up to this point, the lack of clarity, the uncertainty as to what's going to happen next, you are in that spot for a reason. Don't let it be in vain. Everything that you do from here forward is what matters. And that was the feeling that I just got goosebumps time after time, hearing all these coaches, even some of the top coaches in the network, talking about the times that they've fallen from grace, the times that they've lost their rank, myself included, the times where they pushed for a big goal and they didn't achieve it and they felt like maybe this wasn't the right thing for them. Don't let that doubt win. This is your opportunity to really take a moment and decide what you want for your future, what you want for your life. This team is not playing small anymore, and I will be the first to admit, as the leader of this particular team, one of many leaders, but the one who's heading this particular team, I have, if I'm being totally honest, failed you guys. I failed to show up in certain times of my life because life has happened and it's been hard, and I haven't felt worthy or certain or sure of what people needed or how they needed it. But I'm showing up today and humbly asking you guys to hop on this freight train with me, to believe in the dream of what it is you want most for your future, that we're not playing small just by the monthly goals or the yearly goals anymore. We're playing the long game. We're looking at the vision for what we want. We're making big things happen. And I wanted to do something really special for this team. Because I believe so strongly in the power of Summit, I'm going to be offering something to you guys at the end of this call. So if you want to be eligible for it, you got to stick around. You got to stay tuned for what's available to you, and to remember that these events have so much power in them. And all of us that are coming off of this event, we're coming with this energy and this fire that's going to not just pull us through the next few weeks, not just make us have a really good year. This is the fuel that's going to build the business that changes our lives and lives generationally. Do you get that? Like, this business has not just changed my life. It's changed the generations that came before me, because it's affecting my parents in a positive way, because it's allowing me to do more for them. And it's affecting the generations that are coming after me, my children. The life that they're going to be able to have is completely different because of my choice to go all in on this business. And that, for me, started with Summit 6 years ago. So now I'm going to pass it over to one of our amazing leaders, Annalisa Hurley, who's going to talk tonight about the true power of Summit. So Annalisa, I'm going to mute and you take it away, girl.
Hey guys, thanks Liz. I like get nervous bubbles even when I talk on these calls. I don't know why, but I'm Annalisa. I know a lot of you and some of you I don't know, so I just wanted to introduce myself. I have been coaching for 6 years this month, which is crazy. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about, just quickly about that, because this summit was definitely different, like Liz said, for me. So I've been coaching for 6 years. I've hit Success Club for 66 months, and in June I missed it. So, that makes me like really angry and emotional. But I needed Summit because I was just in like this really bad place of belief in myself, in this business, and just everything, really. And it was frustrating. Thanks, girl. It was really frustrating and really defeating. So thanks, guys. Didn't expect that to happen, but that's how it goes. So I needed the summit more than I knew going into it. It happened at the perfect time. I've recently gone back to work for various reasons, not because this business isn't successful for me. It's been at a plateau for a really long time. So I went back to work. So there was just a lot going on. And so I think the power of Summit for me this year was hearing, and it is every year, it's hearing what you need to hear, but not only what you need to hear, because anyone could say those things to me, but I think the power is hearing what you need to hear from the people you need to hear it from. And I think it's like a double whammy when you do that. So for me, I love that Beachbody is kind of, not that they're separating people, but that they're setting tracks for kind of where you are in your business. So I was fortunate to attend the leadership track, which meant that I was hearing from people who, from people who are really successful in this business. And that was so important to me because I heard from Bonnie Engel, who said on stage that she was frustrated, that she hadn't advanced in rank for 3 years. So I guess she's like creating diamonds and things, but her rank was in a stalemate for 3 years, which was like, to me, a big shock, right? So you see these leaders, and I don't follow them on social media because blinders on, right? So to hear from her that she had not advanced in rank, and I was like, that's me, that's my journey. To hear from Lindsay Matway that 2 weeks ago she had considered calling Beachbody and canceling her speech because she was speaking on vision and she didn't have one in the business at that time. To hear from Brittany Leggett how to lead in recovery mode. Like, these were things that were almost like speaking to me. If I didn't go to Summit this year, I wouldn't have heard these things, and who knows what I would be feeling right now. And to hear from Rachel Hollis, who talked about being in the valley, because you need to be in the valley before you can climb the mountain, and how everybody has a mountain ahead of them. So if you're feeling like you're in that space, just know you have to be there to see the mountain and to be able to start climbing it. So so those leadership components, the people that I look up to in the business, like I said, I'm not following them right now, but I've heard of them. I've seen them being recognized for all of these amazing accolades and things they've achieved. And they're still very successful. But to hear that they've done those things and right now they're not was like, okay. And they're not quitting. They're not, it's not like this straight line to success. It's all over the place. And I needed to hear that. So that was the power in the leadership. I needed to hear, and I do not remember who said this. So if you guys remember, someone was talking about serving the people at your table. Who was that? Someone help me. So basically, like, if you invite everybody over to dinner, but then you're running Ashley Malstead. Okay, thanks, Mac. If you invite people over to dinner and they're sitting at your table waiting to be served, and you're out in the street banging pots and pans trying to get more people to come to your dinner, you're not serving those people. So think of your challenge group and think of all of the energy that you can pour in and serve them, and feed the people at your table, serve the people at your table. And for us, that means volume growth. That means retention. That means loyalty with people that are there, and they're not looking at you just trying to find more Success Club points every month, but you're actually treating those people as valuable as they are. They came to you for help. So that resonated with me. And then the power of Summit just being that when you lack belief, when you go to an event with 25,000 people who all believe that this is an incredible opportunity and who are there, and you think, why am I getting hung up on no's when all of these people see the power in what we're doing? And there's so many people out there in the world that can be a part of this. So when you get hung up on no's, think of the power of being in Summit and thinking of all the people who do believe in this, and go out and find those people who want to be a part of that. So all in all, I think Summit helps every single year with providing direction. And this year it was like the ultimate for me. And purpose. And for me, it feels good and it feels exciting, and it gives me a sense of just kind of like this morning, I have my Brendon Burchard planner. I was up at 5 because I'm working now, right? So I was using excuses. So I have my planner. I was up at 5. I spent an hour digging into business activities. I went out at 6 a.m. and did my workout before Ben woke up, came back in. Ben was up, got showered, off to work, spent the day working. And so you make it happen, and you need that purpose again, and you need that belief instilled in you, and Summit can do that. So sorry to get all emotional on you guys, but I'm excited, and I hope you guys are feeling the same. And if you weren't there, looking for inspiration from some of your teammates and things like that. So Caitlin is going to be talking to us about all the exciting things, which also helps with this renewed sense of energy and things to look forward to and momentum and all those things. So that's definitely another area of inspiration. So, Caitlin.
Thanks, Annalisa. Oh, yeah. So basically, what happens at Summit is they just release all this fire on us, and they're like, hey, we're hooking you up from now until next year. And if you aren't already inspired, my take is like, if you aren't already inspired by the talks and the presenters and just like that energy in the room, you're like, oh, by the way, we have hot programs coming out. So I want to tell you guys about 2 things. Promote, not products, but the actual programs that are coming up. You probably saw them. Now, I want to give my perspective on it. So when I started Beachbody, I honestly I was like the girl that was like, I'll do random things at the gym. Like working out was not my jam, even though I knew the importance of it, but I just wasn't committed to a program. So clearly, like for me, back in the day doing P90X and Insanity, like that was such a specific audience in my opinion. And now what they're doing is, especially with the release of these 2 programs that are coming out in the fall and in the winter, they are like, there's no excuse in my opinion as to why somebody can't find their jam. Like, because what they're coming out with in September for VIP early release, we have this whole morning meltdown situation. It's going to be amazing. And then September 30th, I believe is the day, we get VIP access to, I believe his name, because I'm kind of into sports a little bit. And his name is Amwila Amoyla, excuse me. I think it's Amoyla Caesar. So I've seen him. He's a big like NBA guy. And now they're basically opening this market wide open, if it wasn't already, with Lift 4 and all these other things, to serious athletes, in my opinion. So I'm sitting there, the girl 6 years ago that wouldn't have done P90X if you paid me like millions of dollars to do it. I'm now like feeling empowered that I can do something like this. So it's 6 weeks, it's lifting. I mean, he's the guy that trains like NBA players, or like if you're more my rap jam, like 2 Chainz, I think he trains, Colton Underwood from The Bachelor. Like he is the guy. And I feel like this is just so huge for us because he already has this following. And I'm sitting there watching like somebody who's seriously made it and is basically crossing the line, right? In my opinion, like get your guys involved, get like anyone that's following you. And then it's just going to be a really cool thing. So they're doing that. They're coming out. And then here's the other piece of it too. So we have this big gap now, which I think is clutch because this is September 30th for the VIP early release. And then it's not going to be loaded into bot, they say, until the spring. So here's where we capitalize it and create that FOMO as business owners. Like people will say, oh, I'll just wait another month. Like you're going to have to wait a long time to get this. So I think that's going to be really cool for us as business owners. And then, yeah, then there's a bar program. Like, so that was my thing. I think that was definitely something that was missing in the library. So there's a full on bar program coming out, but it seems like she's doing it to be like bar, Pilates, cardio. So you're going to get a really good workout. So all of these things, and yeah, somebody not commented until spring, like they're really spreading it out to really say like, let's all do this, let's go all in. And then I felt like, okay, the people who didn't sign up September 30th for the VIP, we still can get them in another 6 weeks later or another 8 weeks later. And I think it's going to be so cool that everybody has something. So you start someplace and then you work to the next thing. And again, like for me who thought like, okay, I'll start. I would have been that person who wanted to start like really low key to now say like, I can do weightlifting programs and I can do this. Like it's really cool. So, and the other thing that's coming up, so check those out. The first program is called The Work. And okay guys, this is my favorite part, is that it's also available with explicit language. So I don't know. It's just me, but I'm like pretty fired up about it. You can have a clean version and explicit. So there's that. And then the bar program. And then the other thing I want to talk about is the promo code. So I don't know if anybody saw about the promotion codes. You see promo codes on like every website. So it wasn't surprising that Beachbody was going to get into this. But if you are somebody who's active, and it's not too late because I believe you have until Wednesday or Thursday, they're saying like to be active, so probably by Wednesday. But anyways, if you are an active coach right now, you should have gotten an email that you can give out 3 promo codes. So I got them today, Eastern time, like around midday, and you can give out $10 off any challenge or completion pack. So what I basically did is want to make my people feel special. I went through my follow-ups today and I said, hey, are you ready to do this? I have 3 people that I can give this to. Like, I want you to be one of those people, and I want you to, get my free $10 and get them started. And then the really nice part about things is that we get to do this through the end of the month, or like whenever you use up your codes, which just go use them and get them out of the way. And then anybody that you sign, so a coach I signed today was so pumped, and I'm like, hey, invite people to join us. And then anyone that you sign today moving forward for the next 3 months, they're also going to get promotion codes too. So that was really cool because those are the people that you feel like sign up, they want to be a coach, they want to work the business, they're all fired up, but then they're afraid to talk about it. You can just say like, oh my gosh, it's like a referral code. And again, I'm using different examples, but you better believe when I get those Rothy's shoes that I love, I am signing up like all of my neighbors because you get referrals. And I'm like, hey guys, get them. You get $10 off. You get $20 off. Go ahead and use those to your advantage and tell your coaches that they are given like this bonus $10 to give to people so they can join them. So I think that's going to be so cool. You can apply it to different programs, different packs. And they also said when I was in the different lectures that it's just going to be more of those moving forward. So promotion codes, basically stuff that is just plug in to get us really rocking businesses and keeping it moving. So in terms of product launches, I think Jessica's up, so she's going to cover that.
Awesome. Thank you. What's up, Difference Maker Movement? Representing across America. Sorry, this sounds weird. So I'm going to talk to you really quick about new products that are coming out, which I'm super excited about. When you put all of these together between the fitness programs and the new product launches, you're going to recognize there's something every single month throughout the rest of the year for us to promote and be excited about. So much of this business is about excitement, right? And it's so easy to be excited about new things that are coming down the line. So today, collagen became available. Who's ordered it already? I was able to get some at Summit, which was awesome. So all of these, by the way, everything that Caitlin just said, everything that I just said, it's in your Coach Online office in breaking news. So if you don't know that, go there because they have all the linked FAQs in there. I could tell you the numbers, but it's just annoying that you would have to write them down. So just go there and click on it and you can find all of the detailed information on everything that we're telling you. But as far as collagen goes, this is what I want you to think about with all of these products. People are buying them anyways. People are buying granola bars anyways. Why not teach them about beach bars and how they can level up their granola bar experience? You know, like really the ingredients and the taste is so much better than so many protein bars out there. So this is, in a sense, you're helping save people money and you're helping make their life easier by replacing what they're getting from all these different sources. Collagen is something that people are ordering already. So I'm very excited that we have that to offer people. Just so you know, our formula is actually patented. The description is really helpful when you're explaining to people that the patented ingredients delivers a bioavailable collagen peptides. Bioavailable meaning it's easy for our bodies to absorb. That's very important. And that have been scientifically shown to stimulate the body's own collagen production. So those are kind of like highlights because there's, as we know, with protein, there's different quality out there, and those are kind of the unique things about our collagen products. So collagen is available today. The Activewear Essentials line is also now available. So think of people who like goes and buys workout clothes. Hello, like this is awesome because they're more of a premium line of workout gear. You get commission on them. So Beachbody just increased our commission on the activewear line from 10 to 20% in commission, which is awesome. And the team volume also went from 10 to 20%, which will help with our side goals. And the PV, the personal volume, which helps coaches stay active, that went to 75%. So think of like if you have a discount coach, because no real coach should ever be inactive. So if you have a discount coach who's inactive and they're like, I don't want to order Shakeology or anything else, but maybe they need some cute workout clothes, like just let them know. You never know if they want to check that out. So Activewear Essentials line now available. In September 3rd, they're bringing back pumpkin spice Shakeology. Everybody, I know, everyone freaks out. So excited about that. We sold out in like 8 hours last year, didn't we? Or less. It was crazy. So that's coming back for the fall. And then in November 1st, they added another Shakeology flavor, which is peppermint mocha Shakeology. So that's going to be limited time as well, which is going to be just another thing to get people really excited about and in the mood of the season. Like upgrade your pumpkin spice latte, upgrade your peppermint mocha. These are really easy things for us to speak to and, feed your six pack at the same time. Like that's a dream. Okay. Another really exciting thing, at least for me, is the plant-based or the vegan beach bar formulation that's coming out. So a lot of people have been asking for this, and I knew it was just a matter of time, and they finally announced that they're coming out with chocolate almond crunch. And they don't have a specific day, at least that I could find in the FAQ, but they said this winter. So that's going to be very exciting for sure. There was also announced when Isabel and Darren gave their speech about Shakeology in the big conference, that they're doing a couple adjustments to Shakeology. So they're adding flaxseed to help boost the fiber even more and the essential fatty acids. I don't remember, and it's not anywhere, but they're either increasing, I think we already have matcha, but I think they're increasing the level of matcha green tea and Shakeology, which is really powerful. Like, go look up matcha. It's a very, very powerful antioxidant. And then they're adding more probiotics, which is so, so great. So all of these things, I love that our company is constantly improving our product line and constantly developing. It's incredible as it is, but they are not ever satisfied, and I love that. Side note, I actually got to meet Darren, and I told him about my 34-page research project that I wrote, and he was like, cool, will you send it to me? And I was like, heck yes, I will. So I'm actually really excited that I have a connection with him now. He's like, here's my email. Like, I'd love to keep in touch. He's like, I've been, trying to do this stuff and increase our education on Shakeology since day one, but it's so hard with the legal stuff we run into, which I understand. So I'm excited throughout the end of this year. I'm really hoping to partner up with him and do more to provide better education on Shakeology that's legal, that I don't have to teach on the black market anymore. So that would be always really good. And then the last thing, it's not really a product, but we didn't really know where to throw it in. For those of you who haven't heard, we are expanding to France. So next year, I think they had said in Q2, so in the second quarter, we're expanding to France, and they're doing a launch in France in Q3, which is going to be awesome. But they're going to be, from what I understood, they're going to be opening up in France before Summit to try to get French people to come to America. And then Americans are going to go to France in Q3. So that's so exciting. And yeah, just like Liz just wrote, the map they showed, they're working on, I think they said 5 different countries right now. They're definitely working into Latin America, which I think is going to be very powerful. And then in Spain and Australia and New Zealand were other countries that they had highlighted that they're actually working with. So it's so exciting from a business perspective. We have to share it, like, be so stoked that you're in this company now and not 5 years from now. And also when you're talking to coaches, potential coaches, like, hey, I just want to let you know we're about to blow up internationally, like all over the globe. So now's kind of a good time to jump in and learn a little bit more about what you're talking about so that you have the opportunity to expand with us into these countries. So anyways, that's all I got for product launches. I'm going to turn it over to Mia. Mia's a part of the Market Council, and she's going to talk to us about the open house that's coming up that everybody needs to make sure that you're either hosting one or getting to one.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. So yes, we really, or Beachbody really focused on the upcoming Super Weekend event, which is going to be July 16th, 26th, 27th, or 28th, depending on where you are in the country. But hopefully you've been to a Super Weekend event already. This one is going to be the first of a very different type of event. And corporate is really trying to help us grow our businesses because there's no denying that live events are different. You can hear the same information on a computer screen or through a message, but when you hear about it surrounded by people who love and support you, it's just different. So instead of this Super Weekend event being a coach training, they are changing it to be an open house event, a coach opportunity or a business opportunity event. So if you feel like you struggle, like doing a coach sneak peek online, or you're not really sure how to present the opportunity, Beachbody is working to do at least 1, maybe 2 events every year to help you with that. So instead of the videos that Super Weekend going to be the product launches, what we're going over, and the information that coaches need to learn to grow, it's going to be a opportunity session. So the videos that corporate provides are going to be like a what is coaching, video, like a compensation plan, very 101, top of the food chain of the information, but just to share that. So if you feel like you're not confident in that, or maybe as a new coach, you're not even sure of it yourself, this information will be coming straight from the top from corporate. They will be having how is coaching working, like how does coaching work, and all the Beachbody Challenge winner and finalist videos. So that is our mission, helping with that, the health, helping the business, but also what we can provide to our coaches and customers on a personal level, and sharing that in the event in person is vital. If you are listening to this call feeling like you missed out on Summit, or something happened and you weren't able to get to Summit, and you didn't feel that community surrounding you and lifting you up, this Super Weekend event and all Super Weekend events are that's for you to go to. That's the smaller Summit. If you need to feel loved in a room full of people who think the same way you think and just want to be better and want to improve the lives of others, a Super Weekend event is where you need to be. So if you're not sure where your local Super Weekend event, go to FAQ 9792. There's a map there. You can search it, figure out where event is being hosted near you. Thanks, Liz, for posting that in there. If there's not an event near you, not an excuse not to go to a Super Weekend event. Anybody that's an Emerald and above can host their own. It doesn't have to be a ballroom in a hotel. You can host it in your living room, invite 1 or 2 people, use those promo codes to get them to come to your house, use all of these launches to just have a lot of value to offer them, and step into a leadership role, step into the community role. If that's what's keeping you here, you're going to attract people that also are looking for that. And if you're in an area that there's not a big Super Weekend event, create it. Start your own. Build the community around you that you are seeking, and lean on the support of Beachbody Corporate by giving you these videos, supplying the information. If you do host, they give you all sorts of talking points. They provide it all, and they make it easy to share that information with those that you can get to come to your event. So definitely do that. Leverage the experience of being together to introduce the coaching and community to your prospects. So any questions of Super Weekend events, if you do want to host one or whatever, feel free to ask me or send any of your leaders a message. But it is vital to attend live events. And if you can't make it to the big one, then definitely make sure you make it to the small ones. And for this specific one, bring guests and use it as a resource to grow your business. So that's going to be the upcoming July Super Weekend event. I hope you can find one and attend. And there will be, if you host or if you go to one, there'll be a special morning meltdown workout provided too, that you'll only be able to get or experience if you're at a Super Weekend event. So that's special right before the launch. So that's my part of this whole thing tonight. And Mackenzie is going to elaborate on the Summit experience and why those live events are so important.
Hi guys. So, wow, I get the butterflies too. Some of you know me. I know some of you may not know me, but I've always kind of felt like the little baby who's kind of grown up in this business, because I've watched so many faces on here for so long, and I just feel very honored to be speaking like with you and be among you guys, because I remember many moons ago getting on these calls with all these inspiring women and being completely inspired myself. And this summit was really, really special for me because it was the first time. I know Liz kind of touched on this. I'm going to talk about some valleys, but it was the first time I remember being one of those people way up in the nosebleeds. They're barely kind of getting by, totally inspired and obsessed with this business, but I couldn't really figure out what wasn't clicking for me and why I wasn't maybe up there or sitting down there or, seeing all these people rank advance, why that wasn't happening for me. And this was actually the first year this was my 4th summit. So please note that everybody's growth and journey of growth is going to be different. So never compare someone's 1 year of success to your 5. That was one of my biggest takeaways, not just this year, but in general when it comes to what we do, because everyone comes into this and says yes to coaching at a different place in their life. And I think it's just really important to not compare yourself and instead be inspired by all the people that you see in front of you. However, it's very easy to compare. And actually, after finishing the highest I'd ever finished in this, company and in Beachbody, I actually started 2018 at the lowest I'd ever been. So just to give you guys an idea, the start of 2018, I was basically an emerald coach. Okay, I'd been to a diamond, but I was back to an emerald coach. And I remember just feeling completely devastated and so embarrassed and upset and just I felt like a total failure. And then our team went on to finish 2018 as a premier team. And so when I was standing on stage, I was like, holy crap, this is really, really insane. And it was definitely, I think we see the recognition. You guys watch the celebration. I mean, it's absolutely insane. You see these top coaches go up there and it's like they're Beyonce or something. I don't even know. It's insane. And I think what we need to understand is that moment that people are up on stage, that moment that you see someone get an award for Million Club or Premier or Elite or top 10 or 15-star diamond, that did not happen without a very, very low valley, probably at one point or another. In fact, I don't think anyone's going to reach a mountaintop without having to claw their way to get there. And so I just want to provide some insight that, number one, if you're in a valley, just be in love with the climb. I think that's what I had to realize in 2018. I'm not going to get myself back to where I really want to be in my life, not just in my business. I made my life kind of my goal. And whatever happened in my business was going to happen because I was thriving in my life, if that makes sense. Because I was told this by Julie Voris. She said, rankings and recognition are there to evaluate your business, not validate you. And it's very important that we remember that because, like I said, we see these people getting celebrated and getting recognized, which, trust me, it felt incredible. And it was such a moment I'll never forget. However, all the other 364 days before that are what I'm most proud of. And all the 365 after are what I'm most excited for. So just remember that these events are really here to just keep you dreaming, but don't compare and you're in charge of how you feel coming out of that. I want you guys to remember that what your business says is what your business is going to reflect your life and your mindset. And so I stopped making the business goal number one. I started to make how I was feeling, what I was achieving in my life number one, and then things started to mirror. So with that being said, just fall in love with the climb because you're going to fall down. It's going to suck some days. It's going to be really hard. And I think a lot of the reason we don't ever, you don't really ever make it, but I guess we never make it because we're so frustrated with getting there. And in reality, actually, guys, the best part is the journey to get there. It's not once you're on stage or you're getting recognized or you're wearing the flashy top 10 dress. And I'm sure they would probably all agree with me. So celebrate those wins along the way, even if it's just you sent a message or you didn't get in a fight with your boyfriend or spouse that day, or you got up when your alarm clock went off. Remember the really, really small wins because they don't just hitting Success Club or rank advancing or bringing on new coaches. Don't validate yourself through that. Validate yourself through how you're winning in your life, and it's going to reflect in your business. So that's all I have. And I'm going to pass it on to Jenna Lee.
Hey guys, so this was my 4th summit too, and like everyone was saying, it was absolutely amazing. It was probably the best one yet. But as a new coach, 5.5 years ago, my first summit, I was so nervous to attend a summit. And I'm going to talk to you guys tonight a little bit about why it matters to be there as a team and what that can do for your team as a whole. But if you're someone who is hesitating a little bit right now about being there with us next year, I want to just challenge you and ask you why. I want you to ask yourself, in this business, do you really want it, or do you just say that you want it? Because all of you guys are on this call for a reason. So I think that you really want it, right? So if you don't have your ticket to next year's event, I really want to challenge you to put some skin in the game, get that ticket tonight while it's still on discount, and be there with your team next year. Because I'm going to list a few points right now of why it's so powerful as a team, but you and your business cannot miss this opportunity next year. So for me, I have on my team girls all over the country, right? So Summit is our chance for us to come together and meet each other in real life. So up until this point, we're talking on Zoom. We're hoping that each other's a real person, right? But Summit is our chance to meet up and get to know one another and bond as a team. And honestly, this year I had not met 3 of my teammates who attended Summit this year. So that was about half of the girls who attended. And when we all met each other, we kept saying how it was weird that it wasn't weird meeting strangers for the first time. And so I think that holds a lot of us back, just not knowing a lot of people. So we fear going to an event like this. But once you get there and meet all these, fellow faces of people on your team, you start to realize, like, you guys are internet strangers turned besties. It's so strange. And if any of my girls are on here, you can back that up, and just encourage the newbies on this call to be there. But in addition to kind of meeting each other, it really helps our team bond, and people start to form stronger connections with one another. And as I was watching my team, joke around and laugh and talk with each other, I could already see like future success partners forming. So I think that that's really so powerful as well. You never know who on this team is going to be one of your closest friends because of Beachbody, but you have to put yourself out there and you have to go to these events no matter how nervous that they do make you. Also, along with meeting each other for the first time, a lot of my girls shared with me like they never really felt like they ever belonged somewhere. And again, how appropriate for our theme this year of You Belong Here at Summit, but they felt like they had a place where they finally fit in and their voice was finally heard. So hearing that from them just gave me chills, even from girls I had never met face to face before. So that's number 1. You're meeting your team for the first time face to face. Step number 2 is you have to attend events like Summit and Super Weekends if you want your future team to be there with you one day, right? Maybe you don't have any coaches on your team right now, or maybe you have a few who are dabbling, but you can't expect them to have that drive to grow their business if you're not showing up to these events and investing back in your business and kind of leading the way in that sense. And when you show up, maybe you're going to be the only coach on your team going that first year, but you'll see year after year, it starts to grow and turn into a snowball effect. So it really starts to help your team generate that energy and that excitement and that momentum and that belief. And that is so powerful in helping you continue to build and build year after year. Also, why it's important to be at these events as a team is that I think it was Mia who was saying this, but live events are so much more powerful than Zoom calls. For me, being at Summit, it's like I'm getting to know the heart and soul of Beachbody. And that's everyone from the people in corporate who, I come from a corporate background, so I'm very distrusting of corporate environments because I feel like they're just out to make a buck. But when you're at events like Summit, you really see the heart and soul of the CEO and the whole corporate team, along with all of the peers that are there with you. And that is something like I've never experienced in any working situation before. And that really just helps you stay more strongly connected to the Beachbody mission at the end of the day and your mission with your team. And then finally, when you're deciding to go to Summit individually and as a team, in my opinion, that's you saying that you're no longer letting fear dictate the course of your future. Because yes, it's an investment, and yeah, you could be busy in July next year, right? Like, who isn't? It's summer. But by you making that decision tonight to be there in a year, no matter what goes on in your business from now until next Summit, the ups and the downs, if you're committing to be at this event next year, I just think that that's kind of like a turning point in your business. Like, no matter what, you're going to be here through the ups and the downs, and you are going to be so surprised at where you are in your business a year from now, and then how Summit re-energizes you and inspires you to keep going and encourages you to believe that you can do it too, just like all the coaches who you're going to see speaking and you're going to get to know while you're at that event. So you need to be there for yourself and for your teams, especially if you're someone who answered that, you are here and you're serious about building a amazing part or full-time business with this opportunity. So I'm going to pass it over to Dana, who's going to close us out.
Hey guys. So before I dive into what I'm going to talk about, I just wanted to share something, hey girl, that came from a panel we had, I think it was on the last day. And there was a coach who mentioned kind of what you were talking about, Jenna Lee, but of the really making a decision. And she compared the business to being in a marriage, and not giving yourself a plan B. So like asking yourself, have you truly made a decision to stay the course in this business, no matter what happens in your business and or your personal life? Because I will tell you for myself, that if I had given myself a plan B from the get-go, that I probably would have divorced this in the last 2 years, because that's how tough things have been. I had an extremely tough year team-wise and business-wise, like Mackenzie said, where you kind of drop down to a really low after a lot of highs in your business, which is really sobering when you kind of have this naive entrepreneurship mindset of, being on the climb, and then you hit a dip and you're like, oh shit, right? And then coming off of that year, I was really like back in the mindset of like, we're going to do big things. This is going to be the year of the comeback. And during Summit last year was when illness started to set in for me. And if you haven't followed my story at all this past year, I've gone through a lot health-wise. And it's been a really tough year for me personally. So the first thing that I wanted to say is make sure that you've sat down and made that clear decision that no matter what it is you want in this business, whether it's just part-time, a hobby, full-time, that you are clear that you are going to stay the course no matter what happens, because you don't ever have a back door to go out of if you've made that decision for real, right? The second thing I want to say, because this was extremely key for me this past year, is giving yourself permission to be where you're at and allowing yourself to kind of change your standards, because I've always had really high non-negotiables for myself. And one of the biggest mental struggles for me this past year was giving myself permission to have non-negotiable standards that were less than what they typically would have been for me, and giving myself permission to be there and do those things. So there was a speaker in our leadership seminar, which is kind of what I'm talking about tonight, where she talked about driving consistent behavior when you're in a tough phase in life, or something happens, or you're kind of in recovery mode. And it was really, kind of learning how to scale back in your business without quitting. Because if you don't have that plan B and that back door to go out of when shit gets hard, right, you have to figure out what you can do. So I wanted to give you a few takeaways and examples. I'm going to post a graphic in the team page from that actual speech she gave, but I've added on a few of my own because I've experienced this so deeply in my life the last year. But one of the things that was so profound, she said, you can't decide what the weather will be. So you can't decide what the weather is going to be like in your business and or your life, but you can decide how you're going to weather that storm, right? So my number one tip is going to be your mindset, having that big picture and that no plan B, because quitting just is not an option, right? even if your rank drops, even if your income goes backwards, even if you lose friendships, people quit on you, things happen, life happens hard, right? Nobody gets a free pass to avoid those things in life, but you get to decide if you stay focused on that long-term vision or not. Number 2 is to keep the end in mind. So Jess and I actually talk about this a lot, about making a decision with the end outcome in mind that you want to have. And for me, I knew being in the beginning of this year where I didn't even know why I was sick yet, that I thought, I've been consistent for all of this time because I know when you step back, you lose momentum. And when you lose momentum in this business, it is so much harder to gain it back, especially when you can compare it to when you were on momentum highs, right? So I knew that scaling back would keep me having momentum, even if it wasn't the highest momentum that I had ever had. And it would make it easier to kind of dig back in when I found myself in a place where I was ready to. So think about, how do you want to feel a year from now when you're in a phase of a life transition or things happening? How do you want to feel a year from now, and base your decision with that end goal in mind? Number 3 is emotional resiliency. I think that we as humans, when shit gets hard, we tend to want to hide under the covers and run and pretend like it'll just go away, and it doesn't, right? So it gives us an opportunity to really develop our resiliency and our strength and our character and our courage, and to give ourselves grace and permission to show up as the best we can. So I would say when you're going through something, to make sure that you kind of have some boundaries in your life, to give yourself a little bit extra time if you need more self-care, if you need, to ask someone for help with things, whatever it is, but giving yourself strategies of how you can take care of your own emotional well-being are key, because we know it's extremely hard to do what we do if you're not feeling emotionally well, right? And along with that is staying consistent how you can in your own journey, which this was a challenge for me with all the physical ailments I've kind of gone through the last year, but focusing on what you can do, right? So it might not be a full-on commitment to a program. It might not be, what you're typically pushing for, but really thinking about, how can I use products or programs that we have, maybe even ones that you haven't tried yet, to share a different experience and how you're using that to get through whatever phase of life you're in, so that you can stay consistent with something and sharing that journey and sharing the process of it. Number 4 is your environment and your schedule. So kind of with this thought of scaling back, thinking about cutting out the fluff and the non-negotiable things. It was super hard for me, but I scaled back on a lot of things, and my team can tell you this, in the last year. But I showed up for the non-negotiables that were important, that I knew were things that would keep this business running and keep things moving forward. Again, even if it wasn't the same pace as I would have loved it to be, right? You're still in forward moving motion, and that's what's most important. Number 5 is getting tactical with the basics and setting your non-negotiable standards. So again, like deciding what that non-negotiable standard is going to be for you. And no matter what I go through, Success Club and sharing with new coaches is always a non-negotiable standard for me. And I might not be my highest year of recruiting, but it still happened, right? And then number 6 is taking ownership of the controllable, which goes along with what can you be consistent with in your journey and what can you be consistent with in your business, and celebrating that, right? So often we focus on everything we can't do and everything that we're not capable of in that phase of time, instead of shifting and thinking like, what can I do right now? And yes, celebrating that. So thinking about having systems that you have that are working for you so that you're not having to work as hard, leaning on your team or teaming up with other people. We partnered up for running team calls, running sneak peeks, all of those kinds of things to kind of conserve my energy, for lack of a better way to put it. But thinking of different ways to get creative of how to keep things moving forward when things have to shift for you and you maybe can't take on as much as you typically would, or push as hard as you usually would push. And then she had shared something that I think is a great question to ask ourselves, and that is this giving me and my team a positive result? And asking ourselves that as we go along with this process. And remembering that your best is always enough. Like your best is always enough. And sometimes we can be our own worst enemies when we're not giving what we want to be giving. But if it's your best, if it's truly, honestly your best, whatever season of life you're in, then it's your best and that's enough. And one last thing I wanted to add on was Rachel Hollis. I know Mackenzie was kind of sharing about her sentiment of valleys. Like when you have decided, she was talking about when you have decided to live life differently and you've stepped into an arena of coaching where you want to do things differently with your life and you want to live differently than other people do and you want to create a future that is different than people around you, you should expect that it's going to be hard, right? You can't just expect that you're going to sign up to drastically change your life and it's going to be a walk in the park. And she explained how when you have this massive mountain of this life you want to build and these dreams you want to achieve, that you're going to have to walk through these valleys and these lows. And instead of looking at it like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get to that mountain, I'm never going to get there, embracing these valleys and these challenges you face in your life because they're strengthening you and developing your character and helping you become the person you need to be to eventually climb that mountain that you're going for. So that's all my takeaways.
So can I highlight something that Dana would never highlight because she's humble and she's Dana, but Jessica pointed out in the chat, and just in case it was missed, I wanna pinpoint it real quick because first of all, there's a difference between scaling back and taking a step back. So what Dana's talking about is continuing the consistent behavior at the level that you are capable of in giving your best based on the season of life you're going through. And Jessica pointed out that Dana, first of all, is a single mother, and second of all, she was basically bedridden for the last year with illness and still hit Success Club every month. So I've encountered plenty of coaches who said, yeah, I'm just going to take a little step back. And like, they basically just don't do shit for like 6 months. Dana was still doing the work, but it wasn't the typical like off the charts work that Dana's, capable of when she's in good health and making stuff happen. So I just wanted to point that out because I think that's a testament to you, Dana, but also a reminder to all of us that it's not an excuse. Like I've seen people go through hell, stuff that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, losing people they love, a spouse, a child. Like I can't even think about it without getting that pit in my throat. And this opportunity was the foundation that they built that allowed them to be present in those dark times. And they still leaned into this community because it's such a blessing and still showed up in whatever way they could because they were choosing their heart. They were choosing to do the work there so that they could be present with the people who needed them most. So yes, life can get pretty tough, but you have to decide the kind of tough that you want to experience in life. So first of all, I just have to dote on the women that spoke up tonight. I am so proud of you ladies. It felt so good to collaborate on this call. I want to do more of this. And I want just to honor all of you for what you brought to the table tonight, but what you bring to the table day in and day out and what you're teaching your teams and driving down all the way down the down line, setting such an incredible example. So thank you guys for showing up tonight and shining your light. It was so obvious to all of us. And I also want to assure you guys that I am back. Like I am starting to have a pulse again. This happens every time I have a child. 6 months postpartum, which I'm like a week and a half or a week or so away from, my head comes above water again, and I am fired up to the point. This summit was so powerful that my husband is now like really stepping into this business in a big way to help you guys. That's his role. It's not to grow our business, it's to help the coaches on this team. So I'm thrilled to feel like I have function again in my life. So, and like Dana, I was doing what I could, scaling it to a point where, still kicking, not a corpse yet. Okay, so I want to close with something that I hope will be of value to get you guys. So because you're on this call, you will see a post go up in in the next little bit in the Difference Maker movement. If you're not in there, please request to be added. Make sure you get yourself in there. Within the Difference Maker movement, I'm going to put up a post that'll be very obvious that this is what I'm referencing, that the first 50 people to purchase their summit ticket in the next 5 days, okay? You have 5 days to do it. Actually, is it 5 days? What day is today? Okay. So you have till Friday. First 50 people in the Difference Maker movement to purchase their ticket, you have to post a screenshot of your registration confirmation in the comments under this image that I will put up. You will get special access. I will directly send you a Zoom link, and you will get access to a special call that my husband and I will do for you guys, revealing our numbers and how to strategically build your business in a really powerful way, even if you're a brand new coach. If you are in attendance to that call, you will have the opportunity to be one of 3 people who can win a one-on-one deep dive Zoom chat with me, where I will actually pull up your business and help you strategize of how to build it in a more powerful way. So you have to register, post the screenshot of your registration in the comments, committing to going to Summit next year. And right now, the tickets for Summit are literally half off what they will be in a very short period of time. This is they do right when Summit ends, they launch the tickets for next year's Summit. They're $125, and that is a fraction of the cost of what they typically will be. And they do it as a push to allow people to get in. And Summit, by the way, can sell out. So that's just a little disclaimer. So you can go to coachsummit.com, very easy to remember, to purchase and register for Summit for next year. It only takes a minute. I will put that post up, post your registration. Only the first 50 are getting in. And then of those 50, I'll be choosing 3 to do a deep dive call with. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that my husband, myself, along with some of our leaders on this team, and some of the assistants I have on my personal team that help me with this business, are already planning big stuff for NOLA next year. In New Orleans, we will be hosting, for the first time ever, our own pre-summit event that's going to be epic, that you're not going to want to miss. So you want to get yourself to Summit, make sure you register. And I'm looking forward to doing this call as much as it scares me, and I'm very much looking forward to doing those 3 deep dive calls. I don't care where you are in my downline. If you're not a person sponsored, it doesn't matter to me. My sole goal, not just for this year, ongoing into eternity, is to help each and every one of you achieve your dreams utilizing this business platform. So I can't wait to see who's registered, who's getting those images up, and who will get access to that call. And I will send out more details on when that is and all that jazz. But I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank you for being a part of this incredible movement. We are a movement. We're not just a team. We are making massive waves, and the best is certainly yet to come. So you're in the right place. You belong here. Thank you guys for your time tonight, and I'll be posting the recording soon. Take care.